Alright guys, so I'm going to give you the quick 411 on the porting here, okay, real quick. It's super easy, it's very, we'll just call it self-explanatory. Alright, and I'm not going to I'll show you, I'll put like a time lapse of me doing this in here, but I'm not going to go and explain it during the duration of that. So basically from now, after this clip, once it goes into time lapse, we're going to port the engine and stack it and put it in the car. And then you'll see it start up. So, but before we do that, I want to show you guys, or at least give you a 411 on porting if you've never done it before and you kind of want to start doing some more research. Basically, take your port template right here. It lines up on the dowel holes there and there. I took just some good old rattle can and dusted the iron with the housing on so you can see where the housing rides all the way around. Then, once this is on here, you take a scribe and you trace out your port so you can see how much I'm adding right here and what I'm going to do for the bridge there. You take a drill bit that's smaller than your port diameter, okay, so you can see there, fairly small. Alright, you need to be careful where the coolant jacket runs. You can't drill all the way up here, you can only drill to about like there. So you drill all these holes out. You take your assorted Dremel, grinder, bits, more bits here, and you clean all this up. You port that nice and smooth. You get the bridge nice and smooth on both edges. You extend this out. Make sure you don't get into the coolant jacket at all. Usually what people will do is draw lines through here. But that's basically it. Once you get it all done, then it'll look like this. Right there. You have a nice little bridge, ported nicely, knotted up. So, let's get to it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are stacking this motor. Enjoy this time lapse. We have everything prepped and ready, and we will put the E-shaft in the correct direction this time. The motor has been dry fit with the studs, so we know that each stud, once the motor is stacked with the dowels in, each stud will go all the way in, and I have marked them such that I know how deep they go. So, let's get cracking. Alright, so This is only like the third or fourth engine I've ever built by myself. However, I built a bunch of these engines with Charles, and I have never seen a set of coolant seals that's too small, right? So I go to put it in, and you push it all the way around, and you're taking the seal and you're working it into the groove all the way around here. And usually this Permatex high tack, you put it in, let it sit a little bit, then you put your seal in, and that'll hold that seal in there. It gets a little tacky, hence the name. So what I've been having an issue with though is whenever it's a smaller diameter like that, when you work it all the way around, it just pops out on the other side, and I can't get it to come in. Now, the outer seal is not too big of an issue, because it's one piece rubber, it's a little stretchy, it's not too bad. The inner seal is actually like glued together, so I can't really like pull on it and try to stretch it out. If you look here, see it's like glued, and this is not a stretchy material at all. It's very firm because it's kind of like a fire ring. So I have an assortment of bits here to hold that down. It doesn't take much force to keep it in that groove, but it's just like I need like 6 sets of hands. So figured I'd insert this clip here, and we're going to continue stacking it, just because you'd be like, what the hell has he got all those paint cans on that motor for? So never had this issue before. I'll be curious. This is the front. So the seal I grabbed for the front iron to housing, perfectly fine. Went in without a hitch. The one on the center iron was a real pain. I used my grease container, held it down and got it in, and let it sit there. The high tack set up, it went in. Now this one, super pain in my butt. So I got to get the dowel O-ring on the housing real quick, and then I'm gonna pull all this off. I've checked my apex seals. I'll probably check them again real quick, and then or check the corner seals, make sure they're straight. And then I'm gonna try to set this housing on here, and hopefully this seal doesn't, this inner seal doesn't like pop out. So the high tack doesn't really like provide any. It's not there really for like sealing purpose. Like, it's not like RTV. The reason to use it is just because it helps to hold these coolant seals in place. For like if you're putting the rear iron on, you flip it upside down. A lot of people use like Vaseline and stuff. But this is just what Charles used. It's what I use. The only thing that sucks, you gotta put oil on your fingers. Otherwise, that stuff just sticks to your fingers really bad. It's a real pain in the butt. So looks like it's okay. But like if I pull that up, okay, that one stays. Alright. It's kind of staying. Man, I just don't like that. It's just like one of those things, like that's a big deal if that pops out and gets pinched or something while I'm putting it together, you know, that's problems. You also want to make sure you don't get them twisted. So anyways, back to it. Motor's in. First start. Let's see what we get. Or actually I say first start, but I'm going to crank it with the engine fuse out. Try to build some oil pressure. I really don't know what that noise was, but we're just going to crank it. In neutral, here we go. Alright, now you go ahead and put the engine fuse back on. You can hear it pumping the air out of the fuel system. Not seeing any leaks. Put the engine fuse back in. Control the coolant down a little bit. This should be the first live crank. Fucking heck. Oh, ripped my pants. Alright, here we go. Got oil pressure here too. Good. Will it idle? Nope. Definitely need some more fuel on cranking to get this thing started up. Alright, so we got Nick out here running the laptop. Is it about to die?
Yeah, let's bring it back up a little bit.
Alright. Trying to get the where'd my screwdriver go?
You gotta do a warm-up wrap.
The idle set here. That was like that much of a turn, just barely. Just needed a little help out here on the idle screw. It was set too low. Hey dog. But that bridge sounds pretty good. Hell yeah.
Dude, I'm stoked, man. That's good. It sounds freaking amazing. Tell him. See if I get some of the transient stuff.
right, man. What do you think?
Amazing.
Sounds pretty good
This
for a little
guy's
half bridge.
He's a freaking beast.
3 weeks on engine rebuild, I think we did all right. And made it back out of the garage without ripping the lip off, so shout out to the boards. But once we got the idle dialed in, she's ready to hurt some feelings now. So, one thing that's super awesome, and I was talking to him about it earlier, basically the only thing we changed on the car was the porting. So, and added studs, but those shouldn't help anything with like power. So I'm excited to see like the difference that Nick feels driving it around, and where he has to add more fuel and stuff like that to just see how the port affects his drivability, especially when we have only changed that variable.
Yeah.
You know, to really see what the effect is, because it may not have that big of an effect besides having a brat now. You know, like the top end pull may not be that great just because it's boosted, so that kind of makes up for it. Whereas on some of these NA builds, you know, you can really feel that porting. But I don't know. That'd be all for now. He's taking her home. We're gonna work on the next one. Thanks for bringing it out, and see you next time.